walking through the fire to get to the big dance in the NCAA tournament. Both of these teams, as Kelly said, feel battle-tested to be here, both at large, out of their respective conferences. Let the madness begin from Durham, North Carolina. This first four matchup between Nebraska in white and Richmond in red. First shot of the game, no surprise there. Britt Prince takes it, makes it. Get you to our starting lineups brought to you by Capital One for the Richmond Spiders. A veteran group there who have come back strong, led by seniors Rachel Ulstrom and Maggie Dugan, along with Sam Dewey. That trio has stuck together and gotten this team to its third straight NCAA appearance. Spiders with 4 on the shot clock. Love to shoot the three. They're one of the best in the nation at doing so. Miss on that first attempt as you get a look at the starting 5 for Nebraska. We told you about Britt Prince. Amaya Hargrove, another sophomore, has really come on strong for this team. Callan Hake, the only senior in the lineup, starts him off with a 3.
What a start for Nebraska offensively. Britt Prince has been able to do whatever she's wanted to get into the paint, make something happen. Mid-range on the first play, touches the paint, hits her shooter on the second play.
Number 44 in red is two-time A-10 Player of the Year, Maggie Dugan. 22 is Ulstrom, one of the top 3-point shooters you're going to see in this tournament. Here is Dugan, knocks it down. Watch out, she sees that first one go through.
Jen, she is so good from beyond the arc. That's her 89th 3 of the season, 40% shooter. Dugan can do it all.
Prince. Just outside the top 10 in scoring in the Big Ten this season, averaging just about 17.5 per game. Turns it over here. Spiders on the run. It's Alicia Newell, the sophomore, who is fouled on her way to the basket. Erin Roussel, 7th season, two-time A-10 Coach of the Year, 7th season in charge of the Spiders. Very proud of this team, making it here as an at-large team out of the A-10. Second consecutive season.
And Coach Roussel was telling us about his strategy from a scheduling standpoint to make sure Richmond had the best chance possible to make it into the NCAA tournament. Their net is 37 coming into this game. That's very good for a mid-major team. They played Texas, they played TCU, they played Fairfield, Green Bay in the non-conference, and it paid off with an at-large bid.
Tucker Beaujean, the 6'3" sophomore, passes it off. Prince, as you said, having her way, so confident, has 4.
Britt Prince is a mid-range queen, okay? She loves the mid-range. She can get past almost anybody, and she has a really good feel of when to pull up and when to keep going and attack that paint.
Spiders looking inside. They get the basket from Ulstrom, her first points.
What a pass from Maggie Dugan. And we were able to talk to Dugan and Ulstrom today after shoot-around. Roommates, best friends, been at Richmond together for 4 years, and you can see that connection on the floor.
Both of these teams, I think you could say, somewhat relieved to find themselves in the NCAA tournament, getting to make plays like this.
Absolutely, and here's Prince in the mid-range, pump fake, Newell flies by. She knocks it down, and Prince, the ball's been in her hand so much for Nebraska early. Richmond's got to find a way to get that ball out of her hands.
And certainly a focus for this team defensively as Allie Sweeney drives and scores. Easier said than done, though. Big sophomore duo of Prince and Hargrove leading the way for Nebraska all season. This is Hargrove. Had 23 points in the last game, lost in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. Both of these teams with the challenge, Kelly, of trying to get some of that mojo back, coming off losses in their final games of their conference tournaments. That one rattles out for Ulstrom.
It felt like both of these teams were a bit worn down towards the end of the season. They've played really tough schedules. You heard Coach Williams talk about that. But we're seeing a few rested teams tonight, Jen.
Newell takes it away for 2. Richmond, the 3-point lead. first ever meeting between these two programs. Winner gets Baylor, the 6th seed, in the round of 64 on Friday. Prince. First miss of the game, hit her first 2 shots. Sophomore out of Omaha, Nebraska.
A lot of one and done so far. No offensive rebounds yet in this game for either team.
Sam Dewey. Pretty much everybody on this Richmond Spider team a 3-point threat, as they are second in the nation with over 10 3-point makes per game. Amy Williams, well aware of that fact as she was getting her team ready, trying to figure out how to limit that number of triples from the Spiders tonight.
And when you play a really good three-point shooting team, it's all about ball pressure, and that's what Nebraska has been emphasizing in their practices the last couple of days. Coach Williams, even at one point, she got in a defensive stance, Jen, and she said, be scary at the top of that defense. Make them feel you. You want to make shooters uncomfortable and try to run them off the three-point line. Make them make long 2s instead of 3s.
So it was Coach Williams' 10th season in charge. She's an alum, played at Nebraska, actually played here back in the day at Cameron Indoor Stadium, and she was a freshman walk-on for the Cornhuskers. And that is her daughter, Kennedy Williams, redshirt freshman number 15, had just come in off the bench for Nebraska.
A 2-sport athlete. She plays for the Nebraska softball team as well. And I mentioned these teams have had a week off between their conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament. She scored a run for Nebraska softball last weekend.
Came on as a pinch runner, scored her first run of the year. Good look inside, that post-to-post passing, working to perfection.
Amaya Hargrove has been fantastic for Nebraska as of late. And she's been able to move in the starting lineup earlier in this season, and she's made her mark inside.
Holstrom coming up empty, her first couple 3-point attempts. She's number 2 all-time in 3-point makes in Richmond history. And there's again that great passing on the interior for Nebraska.
And Richmond is fronting Hargrove inside. That was Dugan fronting her, so help side's got to be there. Wright tried to come over for Richmond, but she was a step too late.
Kennedy Williams, good defensive presence there. Her Nebraska team a 1-point lead here early in the... Cornhuskers have felt like they've had some opportunities in front of them this season, had a great start, but have not been able to take advantage of it yet. And the message, Kelly, we heard at the end of shoot-around today, seize the moment.
They have played a brutal schedule. Playing in the Big Ten, they're the 12th team in this tournament out of the Big Ten, and you look at those wins. I thought the win at Washington late in this season, the Britt Prince game winner, the step back 3 that won that game out in Seattle, was a turning point for them. We talked with Prince and Callan Hake, they agreed. You could argue that win, Jen, got them in this big dance.
Certainly an impressive net of 28 for this Nebraska team, helping their cause. And those record 12 teams out of the Big Ten. Wainwright committing the foul for Richmond. Inbounding it here, number 1. Prince, beautiful move, backdoor, 6 points for Britt Prince.
And what a play by Jessica Petrie, the junior. Got the defense off balance, drew it a bit, and a beautiful backdoor pass.
Quick response from Sweeney on the other end.
Do you like offense? Because this game is delivering so far. Great way to kick off the tournament.
Nebraska's made 6 of their first 8. Richmond 5 of 9. Huskers swinging it around. The 3-point attempt off the mark by Hargrove.
Here's Britt Prince moving without the basketball. She just continues to work. That was a great pass from Petrie. And on a backdoor pass, Jen, the most important thing you can do is the eye contact. There's always a moment where you make eye contact with your passer and you know you're about to cut backdoor. They can lead you with the ball. Great job by Petrie and Prince.
Prince getting a breather on the bench at the moment. This is Dugan. 6 seconds on the shot clock, just lost the handle on the way in.
And we thought they would use Eliza Maupin coming off the bench for Nebraska, number 21, the K-State transfer, to guard Dugan, bring that level of athleticism, that length. That was a good first possession of defense for her.
Yeah, and great to see her back out there, number 21 in white. Didn't play the last 3 games after an ankle injury in the game at Oregon in February. But that's a big get to get her back healthy for the postseason.
They missed her in that Big Ten tournament game against Indiana. Had some foul trouble and needed that post depth.
6'3", as you said, senior transfer from Kansas State. Averages about 8 points per game, 4.5 rebounds. 8 seconds on the shot clock here. Both teams shuffling some players around. Quick 3 from the corner, yes!
I love that blob. I love that baseline out of bounds play when the inbounder comes off of a screen and a quick DHO, dribble handoff. And Nisley ready to let it fly. That's her 61st made 3 on the year.
43% three-point shooter for the Cornhuskers. Tough drive to the basket. 5 in the game now for Dugan. Averages 21 points per game. Top scorer in the A-10 this season.
And Dugan knows what it takes in the NCAA tournament. In 2 games in the tournament last year, she averaged nearly 30 points. She's so good at finding her spots. A quick catch, you've got to respect her three-point shots when she puts the ball on the floor. I love this play. So tough to defend. You're not sure which way. The shooter has the option to go left or right once they inbound the ball. And Nisley, her job is to shoot that thing, and she absolutely did on that play.
Maupin committing the foul. Gives the ball back to Richmond. They trail by 2, and then Prince blocks it, but put it out of bounds, so it'll go back to the Spiders into the basket. You mentioned Dugan in the NCAA tournament last year. Is this what you're talking about? Some of those huge numbers in that game against Georgia Tech, by the way, historic for this Richmond program, their first ever NCAA tournament win.
Jen, just for fun, I went back and watched all of Maggie Dugan's buckets in those 2 games last year in the NCAA tournament. She was cooking, and you know Richmond can take a lot from the confidence they built by winning a game in the NCAA tournament last year. And they were tied with UCLA at halftime in the 2nd round.
You can feel the confidence oozing from this veteran core that leads this Richmond team. They know they've left quite a legacy, and they're not done yet. Another 3, up and in. So far, it's been Nebraska knocking them down from deep.
The Cornhuskers are one of the most efficient teams in the country, and you're seeing that so far. They have been fantastic shooting the ball here in Cameron.
Nebraska 3 of 4 from 3.
I thought that was a charge.
And no call either way by our officiating crew. And Newell so quick to the basket. Hake comes away with it. And those gritty, do-it-all type of leaders for this Nebraska team. Senior for the Cornhuskers. Empty possession, though. Five points, the largest lead of the game for Nebraska at the moment. Richmond trying to cut into it. 6 on the shot clock now. Looking inside, Newell didn't want it, gave it away.
Newell's got to shoot that right at the rim. Making a pass is too risky. One pump fake, go up with it.
4th turnover of this first quarter by the Spiders. Prince pulls up from the free throw line, left it a little short. Spiders have gone over 2.5 minutes now without a bucket. Like to break that here before the quarter ends. Well, they continue to struggle from three. Gonna hope to see those fall a little bit more, but right now, 5-point Nebraska lead.
What a shooting first quarter for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. 8 of 19 from the field. Incredibly efficient. They've been resting. They're ready to go. We've got a good one here in the first 4.
The Richmond Spiders anxiously awaiting their fate on Sunday. And then, yes, relief. Celebration as they are back in the big dance. And Aaron Russell talked about how much he wanted this for his seniors who have changed this program around. Now this with their 3rd straight season in the NCAA tournament, 3rd straight with 26+ wins.
And it's always nerve-wracking when you are a mid-major and you don't win the conference tournament. And Richmond was not able to do that this year, but their resume and their net, it spoke for itself and very deserving to get here in the big dance.
Richmond losing in the A-10 semifinals to George Mason. Rhode Island, the only other team from the A-10 in the tournament, the A-10 champs.
The A-10 is tough. You could argue George Mason should have been in this NCAA tournament as well. That league has improved so much with what Rhode Island's doing, with Tammy Reese, with Coach Blair Lewis at George Mason. It's an impressive league with Richmond in there as well.
Maggie Dugan, perhaps the most impressive of them all. 2nd straight year as the A-10 Player of the Year, but Nebraska, Kelly, you and I were talking about it in the break, doing a great job defensively on her so far.
They are, and she's taken 2 shots. She's made both of those shots. The 2 looks she's gotten, she's converted. Nebraska's trying to keep her out of the paint. They're trying to be physical with her and keep the ball out of her hands, saying, make someone else beat us. And so far, it's working pretty well for the Huskers.
Richmond, by the way, their last game coming off a season-low 45 points in that loss to George Mason. Did not shoot it well in that game either. Just 5 of 24 from 3, so hoping they can see the ball start to fall through a little better at Cameron Indoor in this matchup.
They're 2nd in the country in 3-point makes on the season. They've made nearly 350 threes. They shoot the ball. They shoot nearly 30 a game. They make 10.5. They're very reliant on the 3. Dugan is an incredible 3-point shooter, but also when you make threes, it opens things up around Dugan so she can get one-on-one matchups inside.
Spires 1 of 6 from 3 so far to start this game. Nebraska, meanwhile, hit 3 of their first 5 attempts from downtown. They'll try another, and why not see it go through? Kennedy Williams, coach's kid, stroking it from 3.
Known more for her passing, a solid defender on the ball, but can also knock down the 3 when needed.
Largest lead of the game now for Nebraska. Tiara Simon, grad transfer from St. Louis, gets it back from Dugan.
Dugan's got to shoot that. She gets the rebound, but she had an open look in the mid-range. She's got to let that go.
Both she and Ulstrom talked to us about the confidence that they have in one another in this team, despite the fact that both of them probably didn't have their best games down the stretch last couple of games. Dugan was 0 of 6 from 3 as there's a pause now with a player down for Nebraska. I believe that is Williams. Gosh, just hit the 3 on the other end. You talked about what an impact she makes in so many other areas of the game defensively. We've seen her with a steal already in this game. Redshirt freshman, didn't play last season with the basketball team, played with the softball team at Nebraska. Great to see her back on her feet. Can imagine that is doubly difficult for the head coach, Amy Williams, as she sees her daughter head off for some treatment. This is the play, just bumps into Prince there at the end.
And you see that left shoulder is wrapped and looks like the shoulder hit Prince. She's grabbing it there. Don't want to speculate, but could be an issue with the shoulder.
Williams has gone to get treatment. We'll give you any updates as we get them. 5 on the shot clock for Richmond. Dugan was stuck, passes it off. Pull up in the paint is good from Anisha Scott.
Richmond needed a bucket, grabbing some momentum back in this game, and the freshman delivers.
And over and back, the defense making its presence felt.
Impressive play here from Manisha Scott, and a really good awareness of the shot clock. By the time we get to March, a lot of coaches love to say your freshmen are no longer freshmen. They're sophomores now, and that was a veteran play.
Five again on the shot clock. Nebraska really making Richmond work for everything on this end of the floor. There is a foul called, though. And that's going to turn it over. So we came on the air talking about this Regional 2 Sacramento that we find ourselves in with this first four game. Give you a closer look at what we have going on. That top four is pretty daunting, Kelly.
All four of those teams in the top 9 of the net. That says so much. Minnesota out of the Big Ten. Nebraska's very familiar with them. Duke, the ACC champs. UCLA, LSU, those two played in last year's NCAA tournament in a great game. UCLA making the Final Four. And you got Ole Miss at the 5 seed. Ole Miss was a team contending for a top 4 all year long. This regional, I think everyone agrees, and everyone doesn't really agree on anything, Jen, but I think most people agree that this regional is the toughest.
It all gets started tonight with this first four matchup. These two 11 seeds, Nebraska and Richmond, their first ever meetings in program history. Hargrove at the free throw line for Nebraska. An 80% free throw shooter on the season, coming off a 23-point performance in her last game, excuse me. That first round loss to Indiana in the Big Ten tournament. Well, Richmond needs to get their groove back on the offensive end of the floor. Off to a good start, but things have gotten progressively more difficult as this one has gone along. This player right here, a key part of getting this team going. Dugan is fouled. She will head to the free throw line. Well, for the 6th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all the NCAA championships.
And this is more of what I want to see from Richmond, and Maggie Dugan looking to attack and looking to score. When she gets a piece of the paint, looking to call her own number instead of kick it out, and that was something Erin Roussel was emphasizing for this Richmond team in practice. We've got to touch the paint. We've got to get in the paint so that we can either look to kick or score and put pressure on the Nebraska defense.
6 points in the game now for Dugan. As Nebraska gets 2 through Petra Bojan, their 6'3" sophomore from Croatia. Newell. No offensive rebound to be had. Prince, 6 points in the game for Nebraska. Just about everybody on the floor getting a touch. It winds up in the hands of Hargrove, who will be headed back to the free throw line.
And you can tell Nebraska's bigs are presenting a little bit of a problem for Richmond. That size, we thought Nebraska's size would be an advantage. They've got some depth in there with Hargrove now that Maupin's back in the lineup, Bojan, Petrie, and these post players continue to put a lot of pressure on Richmond.
Hargrove has been in the starting lineup now for the 11th straight game. In her last 3, she's really putting up some big numbers, averaging 18 points per game, shooting 70%. She's at the free throw line now, and we've got a quick break here in Durham. Kelsey, thank you so much. Good stuff there from all of you in studio as you get another look here at this Regional 2 Sacramento bracket. We're in Durham, North Carolina, Duke College of Charleston will start play in the round of 64 on Friday. Baylor taking on the winner of this game. And Hargrove, who just hit her 4th free throw of the game, leading all scorers in the game with 8 points.
She has been excellent inside. Been very impressed with these Nebraska post players. When you hit 4 threes and your posts are going to work inside, good things are going to happen.
Well, Richmond called that timeout between the Hargrove free throws, Kelly. Let's see what they're trying to draw up. I'm sure it has a lot to do with what you just heard Coach McGraw talking about, getting number 44 the ball.
I agree with Coach McGraw wholeheartedly on that one. And that was a late shot clock situation. But earlier in the play, it looked like they had Dugan on the roll. You pointed that out, Jen. She's got to look to shoot.
And her teammates have to look to get it to her. If she does see a flash of free space. Allie Sweeney with the basketball. Junior leads this team, led the A-10 in assists this season. Dugan was bumped off the ball, just lost the handle. Haley Weaver takes it over for Nebraska. Bojan. Where is the struggle been on this end of the floor, Kelly, for Richmond? Not getting what they want. A little more of that, right? The cuts through the paint, the good look. Freshman Rain Wright able to capitalize.
I think it comes down to when they get those looks, looking to score instead of looking to pass it out. That was a great pass from Maggie Dugan. Richmond runs this 5-out offense based on a lot of cuts to the rim. And so the passes have to be on point, and you've got to look to score when you get the ball that deep in the paint. So that was an excellent execution by Dugan on the pass, and then Wright to finish at the rim.
Rain Wright, a 6-foot freshman from Midlothian, Virginia. Not too far from Richmond, local product. Joining the Spiders this year. Prince picking up her first personal on the play on the other end for Nebraska.
And Richmond only about 2 hours away. I see quite a few Spider fans here. There's a lot of red between both teams, but Richmond and Nebraska with good crowds.
Another three goes through. That's the 3rd of the night. You think Callan Hake, the senior, wants her season to keep going a little longer?
She's the heartbeat of this team, been described that way by her teammates. We could tell just talking to her after shoot around, Jen. She wants this season to go on as long as possible.
Tara Simon, grad transfer from St. Louis, and she came to Richmond, wanted a chance to play in the NCAA tournament, won a WNIT championship with St. Louis, is getting that opportunity now. And they're having to pick up some points from someone other than Dugan and Ulstrom at the moment. Great to see Kennedy Williams back out there. She went down earlier, holding her shoulder, it looked like, after a collision under the basket. And just a little too much contact there. Second foul on Williams. Timeout on the floor. Nebraska still looking good.
And the senior for Nebraska, Callan Hake, she's trying to keep playing as long as possible.
And then Britt Prince for Nebraska also played for her mom, Ann, at Elkhorn High School. They won 4 state championships together. And the head coach there, I'm sure there's a lot of nerves by both moms as they look on here, but it's really kind of a unique situation, Kelly, isn't it? That you've got this mother-daughter coaching duo on both sides.
I love this story, and you can tell both Maggie Dugan and Britt Prince are coaches' kids. They've been around the game since birth. They've wanted to play college basketball. It's all they ever dreamed about, and they had great examples and role models in their moms. And Britt Prince, she grew up a Nebraska fan. She has bled red since, you know, she was born. And then for Maggie Dugan, growing up near Philly in that basketball-rich area. It's just such a cool story between the moms.
Well, you talked about Britt Prince, a long-time Husker fan. She's from Omaha, and Amy Williams mom says she's really gotten the opportunity to see this young woman grow up since she started coming to camps when she was, what, 10 or 11 years old?
It's so cool. It's so special. Just think of the players that Britt Prince grew up watching, the great Nebraska players, and now she's one of them. That side by side, she looks the exact same.
She does.
I don't think she has aged much since she was 10 years old playing for the school that she loved as a kid.
And don't be surprised if you see a bunch of young players in Nebraska start wearing that headband and the hair down. Trend has started. Prince bringing it on this defensive end, as well as the offense. At 6 points all in the first quarter for Nebraska. Scoring has slowed down just a tad here. It was scorching at the start for both teams. Right. Gets it back from Ulstrom. Good look inside. Simon had the positioning. It's not the finish.
Richmond now, Jen, 6 for 11 on layups. They've missed a few shots at the rim that could make this game feel a lot different right now.
Drive by Petrie draws the foul. And do you think on the other end, Kelly, is that more something that Richmond is not doing execution-wise, or is it what Nebraska is doing defensively?
I think it's Nebraska's size. Nebraska has a significant front line. Richmond is not used to seeing this type of size in the A-10. They saw it earlier in the season when they played Texas and played TCU, but it's been a while since those games. Nebraska's size is bothering Richmond at the rim.
Petrie making a big jump in this, her junior season with the Cornhuskers. Averages 11.5 points per game. He's been in the starting lineup a number of times this season, but coming off the bench here in the NCAA tournament. And now the junior from Gold Coast, Australia, has her first point of the game. And you have to figure, Kelly, Richmond has to figure out a way to get Dugan more touches, more involved in this offense.
I'd love to see them use her more in the pick and roll. Pick and roll, pick and pop, get her the ball that way.
A few threes going through the net would also help the Spiders. There's a deep attempt from Sweeney. Second team all A-10 selection knocks it down.
It's only a matter of time. When you're the 10th best shooting team from three in the country at 37%, you're gonna see some go through the net. Let's see if Richmond can grab some momentum back from that.
Just a second made three by the Spiders. They're 2 of 9, and that's just too easy for Hake.
Help side has been a second slow for Richmond defensively, and Nebraska has made them pay.
Dugan fighting for the offensive rebound, is able to draw the foul.
Stop me if you've heard this before. It's another 40% three-point shooter for Richmond, and that's Allie Sweeney, her 55th three of the year. These Spiders can shoot the basketball, but Nebraska, for the most part, has done a really good job of forcing Richmond to take tough shots. Spiders just 2 for 10 from beyond the arc.
Second foul there on Britt Prince, putting Dugan on the free throw line. She's an 89% free throw shooter.
I mentioned in the open that Britt Prince was a 50-40-90 player. That's 50% from the field, 40% from three, 90% from the free throw line. It's the gold standard in basketball from a shooting standpoint. Dugan is a 50-40-89 player. She is 1 percentage point from being a 50-40-90 player, 89% from the free throw line. So truly 2 of the most efficient players in the country playing in this one.
Yeah, because it's rare, right? I mean, there's only 2 players in the tournament with those percentages.
4 total in the country, 2 in the tournament, and Dugan is so close.
One of the things you liked about both of these teams, efficient offenses. Those numbers tell the story. Their best players leading the way. Prince, tough drive. Nebraska's led by as many as 10. Richmond a chance to cut in a little bit more here. Just over a minute to go in the first half, and is it a foul? No, it is a foul call. Wasn't sure if it was going to be a jump ball. Doug Knight, Timothy Bryant, Kara Segi, our officiating crew in this game tonight.
I thought at first he was going to call a jump ball, but I do think there's excessive contact there where you need to call a foul, the contact from Fisher.
Emily Fisher, 6-foot junior transfer from Maryland in her first year with the Huskers, called for that foul. There's one of the more unique mascots in March Madness, Webster.
By unique, you mean terrifying?
your adjective choice, it's fine.
But that's what you want in a mascot,
yes.
right?
And you want a close game in the NCAA tournament. That's what we've got. 4 points separating these first four teams in the first game. Nebraska looked comfortable for a while there with a double-digit lead. And it has gotten quite small here as the seconds tick away, and there's 1 second left on the shot clock when this foul occurs.
Great defense inside on that play from Tiara Simon, holding her ground, undersized, but playing bigger than her size inside to get the stop.
And actually called that foul on Fisher. It's her second personal in just a matter of minutes there. So Richmond gets the ball.
And putting Dugan at the line, this is the last thing you want if you're Coach Williams heading into the half. Multiple chances at free throws for Richmond to continue to cut into this lead.
8 points in the game for Dugan, has a chance to get to double digits. And just like that, it's a one-possession game. Dugan delivers. She's had to get them the hard way. A lot of them 5 points from the free throw line. But pulling the Richmond Spiders within 2 with 33 seconds to go here in the first half. 6-0 run by the Spiders. Nebraska head coach Amy Williams talked about mind over matter, reminding her team that they were battle-tested. They had come through the fire to get here to this NCAA tournament. Trying to make a statement. No friendly bounce on that three-point attempt. A battle for the rebound, tie up the call. Richmond ball.
I love that decision from Coach Roussel. He put the 1-2-2 in for that play. They have not used it much in this game, but played a zone on that final possession of the half, or final offensive possession for Nebraska. And it felt like the Huskers were thrown off, not quite sure what to do.
4 seconds on the clock for Richmond as they get the basketball here. Have to go the length of the floor. But a chance to tie or take the lead before the half.
In the women's game, when it's under 1 minute, you can call a timeout to advance, but only in the second half. So
right.
You can't do that at the end of the first half.
One of the officials over at the table just clarifying, checking on the clock, I imagine. Sweeney has it.
That's a good
Launches the three from the March Madness logo. We're not there yet, folks, but we have gotten the madness started here in Durham. Give you a look at the leading scorers so far. Dugan has had to scrap and fight for every bit of those 10 points, leading the way for the Spiders. We've got a good one, as expected, in this first four battle from Cameron Indoor Stadium. 2-point lead for Nebraska over Richmond as we get you to our halftime degree in the studio.
for the Huskers, and the Huskers 5 for 11 from 3 in the first half.
They'll hope to keep that hot shooting going in the second half as we get rolling. Nebraska in the white, Richmond in the red. Prince fouled, makes it anyway, and that is how your second half starts.
She looked kind of surprised that the ball went in. She knew she was fouled, but what a play by Britt Prince. We talk about how good she is in the mid-range. Gets that defender behind her, pulls up, finishes through contact. What a start for Nebraska.
9 points, in the game for Prince, who leads this Nebraska team in scoring 17.5 per game on the season. All Big Ten second team selection this year. Sweeney, all the way in. Bojan over to Hake. Callan Hake, 8 points, 4 rebounds in that first half for the senior from Victoria, Minnesota. Everybody getting a touch on the perimeter. Prince turns around. An offensive rebound to Bojan. Putback is good.
And that was Nebraska's first offensive rebound of the game.
It's hard to believe.
They haven't missed that many shots. They've shot the ball really well, but they have struggled to grab offensive boards. That's another good sign for the Huskers early in this third quarter.
Dugan, two-time A-10 player of the year. Just her 4th field goal attempt of the game. 10 points in the game, but half of those points coming from the free throw line. Logan Misley hit a 3 in the first half. At one point, Nebraska had 4 threes from 4 different players. Tie up on the rebound. And you can see Hake, the emotional leader of this Nebraska team as a senior.
Callan Hake just fighting for that basketball. It was a pleasure to talk with her after shoot-around. You can tell how much it's meant to her to play at Nebraska, to play at a program and at a school that gets so much support for their women's sports, volleyball, softball, you name it. Fans show up. Nebraska with excellent attendance to all their home games. She's left it out there on the floor for Nebraska in her 4 years.
Dugan passed it up. Had a 3-point attempt. Spiders typically able to rely on that 3 to fall. It's not been that way tonight. It has fallen for Nebraska. Misley knocks down her 2nd of the game. Timeout on the floor. Back to a double-digit lead for the Huskers.
Nebraska has come out firing here in the third quarter in the first 4.
An 8-0 run by Nebraska to open the third quarter as we take a look at our bracket tips brought to you by Allstate.
Here's what you need to know. When you're filling out your bracket, there's still time to get in on the ESPN Women's Tournament Challenge. Only 4 Final Fours have had all 1 seeds in the history of this tournament. The last time that happened in 2018. Last year, UConn was a 2 and they made the Final Four. The rest were 1 seeds. Do not pick a team outside of the top 3 to win the title. 11 seeds. Generally, that's a good upset pick. 31% of matchups, the 11 seed beats the 6. And then I think star guards. I always lean towards teams that have a star guard in terms of advancing.
That is some great tips there as you get ready to fill out your bracket as a part of ESPN's Tournament Challenge. It closes Friday at 11:30 a.m. You can scan the QR code to fill out your Women's Tournament Challenge bracket. Get in on the fun.
And we have so many great guards in this tournament, in this regional as well, but just thinking big picture, when you look at the Hannah Hidalgos of the world, AZ Fudd, Michaela Blakes, Olivia Miles, the list goes on. And Britt Prince is an all Big Ten player, all Big Ten first team by the media. She's played well so far in this one, 9 points, 3 assists, and has come out ready to go in the third quarter, trying to get her team a big lead, and boom, right on cue, gets the steal and the score.
You ask, she answers. 11 points in the game for Prince. By the way, Hargrove, she's picked up her 3rd foul. So that is something to keep an eye on for Nebraska. Another important part of this Cornhusker team. Has 8 points in the game.
Richmond 6 for 13 now at the rim. That's been an issue for them.
Hake gets it inside to Bojan.
That was a really good job by Bojan to catch that ball and go up with it, not take a dribble. If she had taken a dribble, boom, that would have been a charge.
Well, that 3 did go through, but it was not going to count for Ahlstrom. He stepped out of bounds. Ahlstrom needs to see a few more of those go through. She hits it over a 41% clip on the season. She is number 2 all time in terms of 3-pointers made. And I knew there was not quite enough arc on that shot. Now I'm hearing it. It did get nothing but net and not through the net, so.
That's the crow's nest for you.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little different calling things up here. But certainly Ahlstrom, a key player in trying to get Richmond's fortunes turned around here. They made a run to make it a 2-point game at the end of the first half, but now it has been all Nebraska, 12-0 so far in this 3rd quarter.
And Ahlstrom's their 2nd leading scorer. She shoots over 40% from 3. She's made 92 threes on the season, which is incredible. But Nebraska's done such a good job of running Richmond off the line, making them uncomfortable with ball pressure, and not letting them get good looks from 3.
Nisley, not a pretty good look there for Nebraska. Spiders would like a few of those. Dugan passes it up. And those are the decisions sometimes you wonder, Kelly. She doesn't want to force it, right, Maggie Dugan, but you need her to maybe be looking for a shot a little more. A couple players down in the paint. Foul called against Petrie, her first for Nebraska.
Richmond has also not been able to get out in transition, get out and run, get Dugan a transition 3 or an easy layup that way. Nebraska's done a great job of getting back on defense, and they only have 7 turnovers in the game.
Talk about an efficient offense. Typically, that is what Richmond has been able to rely upon, but struggling from the 3-point line specifically so far tonight, and just 14% there.
And it's not just the percentage too, it's the attempts. Richmond averages nearly 30 attempts per game. They've only taken 14 threes.
Petrie now with 6, and it is a 14-0 run. Richmond's got to get going here after the break. They're still in the locker room. Right. Ball tapped around. Spiders still coming up empty. You figure you have a challenging season, you have to know how to withstand some runs, and right now Richmond stuck in one as Nebraska going off. Prince with the triple.
What a start to this 3rd quarter in this 2nd half from Britt Prince.
Danger zone time for Richmond, and that is the way to claw yourself out of it. Go to your A-10 player of the year. Dugan's got a dozen.
17-0 run from Nebraska to start this 2nd half. We've caught a lot of games this year, Jen. I'm not sure I've seen that, especially coming out of the locker room at halftime.
Do these Spiders have enough to come back from that kind of a deficit and this kind of a run? Certainly the question will be finding out the answer to as this one goes along. The winner of this one in this first game of the NCAA Women's Tournament, first 4 matchup for these 2 11 seeds, will take on the Baylor Bears on Friday here in Durham. Duke Blue Devils, College of Charleston, the other matchup. Charleston, the only debutantes in this year's field. Shot clock violation. Stops the bleeding for now, but it is 19-2 Nebraska in the third quarter, putting the hurt on the Spiders here in the third.
We talked about how much I love elite guards in March Madness, and Britt Prince, 8 points in the third quarter, not wanting to go. There's a reason why Britt Prince was on the Nancy Lieberman top 10 list, one of the top 10 point guards in the country. She can score the basketball. This third quarter has been a masterclass so far from the sophomore guard for the Cornhuskers. She's been getting out in passing lanes, doing it on the defensive end, knocking down threes. I told you, Jen, she's a 50, 40, 90 player. That is unbelievable, and she is so efficient from the field. You look at her numbers, second quarter a little quieter, but that third quarter, she's blown this game open.
Still has time to do some damage too, 3:29 to go, but the damage has been done for the Richmond Spiders. How do they begin to get themselves back into this game?
Well, the beauty of a team that can shoot the three is you're never out of it when you can knock down threes. The problem is Richmond has not been able to knock down threes in this game. So they're going to have to find their way back in this game through the three, Jen. I just don't see another way.
Kennedy Williams coming away with it. Hake drives the baseline. Little help on the defensive end would help too. Freshman Anisha Scott getting her hand to the basketball. Three-pointer does go through for Callan Hake. Shooter touch, senior touch. She's got 11.
What a game for Callan Hake. She has been so big for Nebraska from beyond the arc, setting the tone.
Foul on the floor, halts things for the moment. Callan Hake, just such an impressive young woman. Senior, spent her entire career at Nebraska, and she said she just hopes her legacy will be that she left her heart out on the floor, that she led with her heart. And as you mentioned, you talked to her for a few minutes, you can understand why this young woman has been such a key piece to this Nebraska team.
You could also tell when we talked with Hake and Britt Prince after shoot-around today, how much Prince looks up to Hake. It felt like that almost mom figure on the team, someone who's a leader who everyone looks to lead them, and that's what you could see between Prince and Hake. It was cool to see. And I love too, Jen, we have two teams here. The top 4 scorers on each team in this game have spent their whole careers at their respective schools. That is special and unique in this transfer portal era.
Absolutely. Speaks a lot to the culture that is brewing for both, and Callan Hake's big night continues for Nebraska.
She's feeling it. She's in that zone where you just feel like that ball is going to go in no matter where you shoot it, when you shoot it. It's like throwing a ball in the ocean.
Ava Perchetti, freshman out of Blairsville, Pennsylvania, scoring for Richmond. Back door. It was open. Emily Fisher had it, knew it. Hands to her forehead after the fact. Dugan. Sweeney gets it back out for the three-point look. Are you surprised, Kelly? I mean, 2 for 17 from 3 so far for Richmond.
And that was an open look, but some of them have felt forced. It's felt like a lot of one-on-one ball from Richmond, which is rare because that's not what they're known for. Whereas on the other side with Nebraska, they have 15 assists on 22 made baskets. The Huskers have moved the ball so well. The high-low's been there. It was a good play by Dugan. But the high-low complemented with the 3-ball. It feels like Nebraska's putting on an offensive clinic right now.
Led by their senior, Callan Hake. She and Prince both with 14 points in the game. Hake averages, by the way, 7 for the season. Talk about rising to the occasion, understanding the moment. It's what you love to see. Seniors on the big stage, understanding this could be their last, potentially, if they don't find a way to help their team survive and advance. Meanwhile, Dugan had a chance to potentially go somewhere else. Decided to come back to Richmond for her senior year. She and Ulstrom both. This is what they were playing for, this type of opportunity here. It just has not gone their way so far in this first 4 matchup.
And I mentioned the top 4 scorers staying at their own schools for their entire careers. Some of that is just so impressive with Maggie Dugan because she had chances. She could have gone to a lot of different places, tried to go to the Power 4 level, but she's so committed to Richmond and Coach Russell and leaving a legacy at Richmond.
Prince leaving a legacy of her own for the school she grew up watching as a little girl. 17 points in the game. 11 of those since halftime as Nebraska just blowing this thing open.
What did we just see? That third quarter, what a performance from Nebraska, leaving no doubt, at least in that quarter. We still have one more quarter to go, but 27-6, the Huskers are...
Nebraska looking good in this first 4 game, and according to ESPN Analytics, the Cornhuskers amongst those double-digit seeds, given a pretty good shot, second best chance to reach the Sweet 16, Kelly.
I love some good analytics, and this is really interesting when you look at those double-digit seeds. Nebraska and Virginia both playing in the first 4. Tennessee is not. They have NC State to open the game, and we've talked about the 11-6 matchup. I talked about that in my bracket tips, that is the most popular upset in the women's game. And Jen, you had an 11 seed a couple of years ago that made a run.
Indeed. Mississippi State 2023 is an 11 seed, played in the first 4. They're the only first 4 team since the women's tournament has added it. And this is the 5th year of having the first 4 that was able to make it to the round of 32. So they won their first game and then won the round of 64. Well, that's a good sign for Richmond in this 4th. Maybe a little too late, but we'll see what kind of a fight the Spiders can put up.
See if they can get Dugan going. And I know Maggie Dugan, Ulstrom, these seniors for Richmond realize they've got to be able to make a comeback here if they want to keep playing basketball. It's win or go home. It's March Madness. And they are in that final stretch, so they've got to find a way to score the ball. But most importantly, Jen, they've got to get stops. Nebraska has been able to do whatever they want on the offensive end in the second half.
Especially she of the flowing locks, number 23, Britt Prince, continues to have her way. Her mom and in the stands, her high school coach loving it. 18 points for Prince, and an offensive foul whistled here.
Britt Prince is just a sophomore. Let's remember that about the Nebraska star. And Callan Hake drawing that foul. If they mark that down as a charge, which I think they will because it's an offensive foul, Nebraska in their notes, they keep charges. So Callan Hake has taken a Nebraska school record coming into this game, 31 charges this season. That's incredible.
If ever there was a hustle stat, and rebounding certainly comes to mind first, but the willingness to put your body on the floor and on the line for your team, take a charge, also right up there with it, and she can't be stopped. We have an early star of March Madness so far, and it is the sophomore from Omaha, Britt Prince with 20.
And Britt Prince also played AAU ball with Kennedy Williams, Coach Williams' daughter, who's on the team here at Nebraska. So Coach Williams for Nebraska has had her eye on Britt Prince for a long time. She attended Nebraska basketball camps. We showed you that photo earlier. What a luxury to have a player like Britt Prince grow up in your backyard, play AAU with your daughter. You get in early. Britt Prince was a big-time recruit coming out of high school. But, of course, she loves the Big Red, grew up a Nebraska fan. These are the kind of things you dream of as a coach.
Nebraska in their third consecutive NCAA appearance. Last year lost their opener in the first round against Louisville, 63-58. So getting a start in the first four this time around in 2026. And in a sense, heard this from both of these teams, they've played with pressure all season long because they knew they were on the bubble, had to play every game understanding that type of pressure. It's almost a sense of relief once you get here and you get to play a little more freely. And it has felt that way, in particular for this Nebraska team.
That's a great point. I mean, Richmond has played all year knowing one loss could hurt them. One loss could, in some ways, knock them out of the NCAA tournament. And for Nebraska, they've played a brutal schedule. They've played 15 tournament teams, 8 ranked teams. But at the end of the season, when they were struggling a bit, they needed wins. And that Washington win was huge. That win basically got them in the field and secured their spot. So they say pressure makes diamonds. Well, for Nebraska, it's working because this offensive performance in the second half especially has been fantastic.
And 22 points in the game for Prince. She is 10 of 14 from the floor. Dugan, meanwhile, has worked her way up to 17, leading scorer for Richmond.
And that just shows the kind of impact Maggie Dugan can have. She's only taken 7 shots. We've said she needs to be a bit more aggressive in shooting the ball, but she still has 17 points in this one and 7 boards.
Well, Sweeney got the behind the back, but then lost it out of bounds. What a wonderful time of the year it is. Coverage of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship continues on CBS, TNT, TBS, and True TV. For tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com.
They play men's basketball in this building too?
Occasionally. I hear the men's team's pretty good as well. Getting ready to go to work. John Shire and company. Greenville, well, they will open up their NCAA tournament.
There's been a lot of postseason basketball in the basketball capital of the South, Greenville, South Carolina. There's been a lot going on there.
Is that your self-proclaimed?
Yeah, I'm going with it.
Okay. 3-second violation, one of the few things that has not gone the Huskers' way, in particular in this second half.
And we thought these two teams were pretty evenly matched coming into this game, both 11 seeds, 2 of the last teams in the tournament. But this feels like Nebraska at its best. The way they've been able to play inside out, use their post inside, use their size, hit the high-low, but also hit 9 threes. Britt Prince super efficient, Hake knocking down shots. This has to be one of the best all-around games that we've seen from Nebraska this season, and what a time to be playing your best, Jen.
Well, one thing to keep an eye on as we finish this one out is how Nebraska finishes this game, because in the Big Ten tournament, that first round loss against Indiana, they blew a 20-point first half lead. Really fell off down the stretch in that one, so they have played so well to this point. And even with the big lead, you know that has to be front of mind to make sure they finish strong.
That's a great point, but also front of mind in a good way, right? Like knowing, because that just happened a week ago in Indianapolis, knowing you have to keep your foot on the gas, especially against a team like Richmond. We've talked about it. When you can shoot the 3, you're never fully out of a game.
Dugan pulls up for 2. If you had told Richmond they were going to shoot 3 of 20 from 3, they'd know they'd be in a world of hurt, most likely. And not been able to get those to go. They've piled up 19 now from Dugan, but without that extra support of the triple falling. Kiera Simon, good work on the glass. 10 on the shot clock, and offensive foul called against Newell. 69-47, Nebraska in charge. Under 5 to play in this first 4 matchup from Cameron Indoor. The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Also looking good so far. The Baylor Bears taking things in. The 6th seed in this Regional 2 Sacramento field. They will take on the winner of this game on Friday here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke Blue Devils will also open up play in the tournament, taking on College of Charleston.
Everything is falling for Nebraska. You got Claire Johnson off the bench, who averages just under 4 points per game. She comes in the game, knocks down a 3. It's been that type of night for the Huskers.
Had that fiery pregame speech we showed you in the locker room from their head coach, Amy Williams, who played here 32 years ago. She's back in this building for the first time since she played here as a freshman walk-on for the Cornhuskers. Now getting to watch her daughter play on this floor and lead this team, it looks like, into a match on Friday against Baylor. Good history between these two programs from when they were both a part of the Big 12.
I do want to take a moment and talk about Maggie Dugan and just how efficient she is. 21 points tonight on 10 shots. I know it's been a rougher night for Richmond overall, but she's going to go down as the most decorated player in Richmond history. Should have a jersey retired at some point. All of the accolades, honorable mention All-American this year. And I think she's going to be a pretty high draft pick, Jen, in the WNBA with the league expanding, more teams being added. You're going to see Dugan playing at the next level. I'm excited to watch her continue to do that when her season comes to an end, whether that's tonight or sometime in the future.
Has her 40th career game with 20 or more points tonight. 21 for Dugan in this one, and 9 of those, I trust my math, which typically I don't, coming in the 4th quarter. As Newell's done this a couple of times, worked the defense and the steal into 2 points on the other end, but part of me says, okay, well, where's that been all night? And the other part goes, all right, maybe that Nebraska defense that was so suffocating early on has backed off a little bit. But do you also feel Dugan has been looking for her shot more?
A little bit more in the second half. She's taken 8 shots in the second half versus 2 in the first. I think this is a tough matchup for Richmond with the physicality Nebraska's bringing and the size inside. And Dugan is kind of a tweener. So either she's going to post up a smaller player or she's going to try to shoot the ball outside when a big post is guarding her. But these Nebraska bigs have moved really well for their size when guarding the All-American.
Timeout call. Looked like maybe Jessica Petrie just a little gippy as she got up the floor there a few moments ago. Be a full look at this Regional 2 Sacramento. Duke, the 3 seed. Thought for a while there the Blue Devils might be a 2 seed in this tournament. They get a 3 seed taking on newcomers College of Charleston. That's Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, folks. So get ready to start off your round of 64 with us. College of Charleston taking things in.
You mentioned they're the debutantes because they're the only team in this tournament making their debut as a program in the NCAA tournament. So that's special for the College of Charleston. And I know they're excited to get a shot at Duke on their home floor.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Another 3 from the corner for Johnson, the sophomore transfer from Samford, who had only hit 8 threes all season long before coming in and hitting 2 in this 4th quarter.
It's so impressive because she sat on the bench, guys, for the last, hour and 45 minutes of real time, comes in off the bench and knocks down 2 threes like it's nothing.
That basket will count as Shanika Campbell, the 6'2" freshman out of the Bronx, New York, is able to have an opportunity for a three-point play.
Some of these freshmen getting experience for Richmond. Just the experience of not only playing in the NCAA tournament, but knowing what it takes to prepare in the tournament. Both these teams making their third straight tournament appearances, and there's something to be said for knowing what to expect on this big stage.
And make no mistake, that freshman like Campbell, who was just at the free throw line, made that last basket for Richmond, likely choosing to come to Richmond because of the legacy that has been built by Aaron Roussel and these seniors like Dugan and Ulstrom. Dewey also a senior, Sweeney a junior. There's veteran core for the Richmond Spiders who have really changed. This program is now one that can compete for an at-large bid out of the A-10, something that doesn't happen all that often.
To put it in context, Richmond has 6 NCAA tournament appearances in their history. 3 of those have come in the last 3 years, led by Coach Roussel and Maggie Dugan. And that just speaks to her legacy and all that she's done at Richmond.
Eliza Maupin getting a few more minutes. Didn't play all that much in the first half, just getting back to full strength after missing the last 3 games for Nebraska with an ankle injury. Well, Dugan making the most of her final appearance in a Richmond jersey.
And still so efficient doing so. And I know this is a tough way to end your career, but Maggie Dugan was so much to be proud of, and this is not the last basketball you're going to see her play. She's got a bright future ahead of her at the professional level.
Under a minute to go in this first 4 matchup, first game to tip off your 2026 NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. Good time to remind you about the ESPN Tournament Challenge. Brackets are open for both the men's and women's. You can download the app or scan the QR code right there to get started. You can create a group, invite friends, do what you need to do. Join in the madness with the #1 bracket game. Men's game closes tomorrow at noon Eastern. Wednesday closes Friday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, because we're playing more basketball here at Cameron Indoor Stadium to start off your round of 64. That'll be the Duke Blue Devils College of Charleston coming up on Friday here from Cameron Indoor, followed by the Baylor Bears taking on Nebraska, as Richmond is going to see some of their players come to the bench and give them a round of applause. What a career it has been for players like Maggie Dugan and Rachel Ulstrom. So much in that hug there with head coach Aaron Roussel. 24 points for Dugan, not the way she wanted this night to go for her team, but you know, we've talked a lot about her legacy. That will certainly be something valuable that she leaves behind for the Spiders.
And that's what college basketball is all about, that hug between Coach Roussel and Maggie Dugan, the lifelong relationship, and all that Dugan has done for Richmond. But how about Nebraska? What a win, a dominant win in the first 4. And Jen, it feels like they want to keep dancing for a while.
Knocked out in the first round last year, so they will get another opportunity at that round of 64. And the Baylor Bears, that is our matchup for Friday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Second game here from Cameron Indoor Stadium, as Duke and College of Charleston will start you off. Get a chance to see the ACC champs, the 3rd-seeded Blue Devils, begin tournament play in 2026 after a great run to the Elite 8 last year. Well, Nebraska getting things to go.